Yes, welcome back to the channel. Hope each and every single one of you are doing well out there. Before we get into today's video, make sure you go down, smash a thumbs up on the channel. It does absolute wonders. And let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to drop a comment too. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Now, we're going to be talking about a report coming out, first of all, from a reporter by the name of Rodra97, who reports for Relvio, which I believe is a Spanish outlet. And he has said Tottenham are interested in Girona left-back Miguel Gutierrez, which got me thinking immediately. Before we get into Miguel Gutierrez, we're also going to be talking about Bissouma and Son Heung-min, as both of those players will be returning in the next 24 hours. But in terms of Tottenham's left-back options, when you look at the most important part about this is we've got 4 players that can play left-back, but we are also looking at Miguel Gutierrez. Now, straight away, we've got Destiny Udogie, who by a country mile is the best left-back at this football club. Then you've got the likes of Ryan Sessegnon. You've got the likes of Mickey van der Ven, who could potentially play there. Ben Davies was a left back, but now he's a centre back. He could still play there if injuries got that bad. And we've also got Sergio Reguilón, who is on loan at Brentford. In terms of Tottenham going into the summer, I've said in terms of the summer transfer window, I said throughout the whole January window, I do think we need a player that can play left back and can play right back. Now, Miguel Gutierrez can only really play on the left-hand side, has played as a left winger previously, but now plays as a left back. Sergio Reguilón, I don't think, can play on the right-hand side as well. And I don't think the likes of Ryan Sessegnon will play long-term at this football club. I don't even think he's made 100 appearances for Tottenham, and he's been here since 2018. And then I look at Ben Davies. He was linked to a move away to the summer to the likes of Leeds. He potentially could be going in the summer. But Miguel Gutierrez, who is he? Who does he play for? We're going to jump straight into that right now. He plays for Girona in La Liga, who are having an unbelievable season. An unbelievable season. This guy genuinely is having a very, very, very strong season with Girona. He joined Girona back in August 2022. He left from Real Madrid, signed for 6 million euros. His contract was a 5-year contract going from 22 all the way up to 2027. He has played 96% of all the minutes he can in La Liga. He's played 22 games. He has scored a goal and he has 3 assists. He is 22 years of age. Can play as a left midfielder, a left winger, but his best position is, of course, left back. He was in the Real Madrid squad, featured a couple of times when they won trophies. But in terms of Miguel Gutierrez, let's look at his stats. Let's look at his stats. I'm going to read out some numbers. In terms of non-penalty goals, he averages 0.09, which is in the top 19% of all left backs in Europe. He's in the top 23% for non-penalty XG. He is in the top 23% for shots. In terms of assists, he's in the top 37%. Expected assist goals, he's in the top 22%. Expected goals and assists combined, he's in the top 19%. His most impressive stat, pass completion, he's in the top 10%. Progressive passes, he's in the top 23%. Successful take-ons, he is in the top 21%. What is slightly concerning when you talk about Miguel Gutierrez is his defensive stats. He's in the bottom 10% for tackles, bottom 20% for interceptions, for blocks. He's in the bottom 11%. And aerial duels won, he is in the bottom 26%. He does win 50% of every aerial duel, every clearance he goes up to. When you look at Destiny Udogie, who is our current fullback at left back, His defensive stats, he's in the top 12% for tackles, top 12% for interceptions. His defensive stats probably aren't as good in terms of his passing out from the back. But as a backup, he and another squad player, Miguel Gutierrez, could be a very, very good addition. In terms of his role at Girona, so they played and drew 0-0 to Real Sociedad. He flies forward a lot. At times, Girona go to a back three out of possession. They've got the likes of Eric Garcia, who was at Manchester City a few years ago. He's now at Girona as well, where he moved to Barcelona. He's now there. They've got the likes of Daley Blind, Gazaniga, our former goalkeeper, and Savio, who has just joined Manchester City. In terms of him, though, he is much, much better going forward than he is defensively. I don't think at the moment in time he is better than Destiny Udogie, just looking and comparing both their numbers. But Destiny Udogie, I think they're both going forward, and you probably would edge Gutierrez in his stats, but Destiny Udogie is the far better defender out of the two. However, he could potentially be a good addition if we were to let Sergio Reguilon leave. Well, not let Sergio Reguilon leave. If we were to sell Sergio Reguilon and if we were to sell Ryan Sessegnon. Now, in other good news, or in some good news, Son Heung-min and Yves Bissouma will be returning. Son will be returning to training in the next 24 hours. Unfortunately, like we said in yesterday's video, they didn't quite do as well as planned in the Asian Cup. They got knocked out in the semi-finals. We'll be flying back from Qatar, flying back from Doha, and we'll be returning to training. I am not so sure 100% if he is going to play against Brighton. I imagine he will, but probably not play the full 90 minutes. And I'm just happy to see that, our clinical goal scorer, our out-and-out number, I guess he's not an out-and-out number 9, our out-and-out forward is returning to Tottenham, which makes me very much happy bringing him back, because when you look at Richarlison, as much as he stepped up, he can't do it on his own. And just knowing that Son's back in there for his creativity, his goal scoring, his running in behind is brilliant. But the big talking point about this video, other than Miguel Gutierrez, is Bissouma. Bissouma will be returning. Now, he did, according to reports, get malaria while out in the African Cup of Nations. In terms of him, though, when you look at Tottenham, in terms of the team we played against Everton, I don't think it will be the same midfield that plays against Brighton. I don't think Bissouma will start, but I do think he will be in the squad. I think the three in midfield you will see will be Papa Matasar, Bentancur, and James Maddison. Of course, it was Maddison's second start since being back from injury. Not the best of games for us in terms of the result. We did play some good stuff, but not our best performance. Richarlison was the only one from an attacking threat who looked dangerous, and he did get his 2 goals. But going into the Wolves game and going into the Brighton game, we have now got 2 fixtures on the trot. For me personally, this should be 6 points, beating Brighton and beating Wolves. In the league, the last game we lost was against Brighton, which was 4-2. Since then, we've beaten Bournemouth, we've drew to Manchester United, we have beaten Brentford, and we have beaten Everton. We also, before that, beat Everton, Forest, and Newcastle. So we're undefeated in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've lost one of our last 7 games in the league. And our most recent home games, we have beaten the likes of Brentford and Bournemouth in the league. I do expect Tottenham to beat Brighton, but it will be a very, very end-to-end, tricky game. If you're a neutral fan, this is the sort of game you would love to tune into, purely because it will be pure 100% football. In terms of the front three, I think Son potentially could play 60 to 70 minutes. I would be amazed if he played the 90. He's played a lot of football and barely been rotated with South Korea. He will fly home, I believe, today at some point to return to tomorrow. A lot of the other players are going to return to the South Korea camp and then maybe go back to their respective clubs the day after. Like I said, unfortunately for them, it wasn't the most best tournaments. Bissouma, does he start against Brighton? Now, if you cast your mind back to January, he didn't leave going to AFCON in the best of form. He got sent off against Nottingham Forest, received a 4-match ban as it was his second sending off of the season, which got me thinking, he didn't play horrendous, but was not great before at the Forest game. Then he got sent off. In terms of the midfield going in against Brighton, they're going to be very, very open. You know, you never know which Brighton side's going to turn up. It could be the side that beat Luton 4-0, Palace 4-1, but it could also be the side that lost 4-0 to Brighton. Very, very, very attacking team. Sorry, they beat Crystal Palace 4-1. Very, very, very attacking team. Score lots of goals, create lots of chances. In terms of their goal scoring ability, they scored 42 goals in the league, only 7 less than Tottenham. And considering they don't really have an out-and-out striker, but they are very, very inconsistent. In the last 2 games they have won, they have scored 9 goals. 4 against Crystal Palace, 5 away to Sheffield United. In terms of their team, they've gone to a 3 at the back recently. You know, João Pedro and Ferguson have been heavily mixed in with their team. And the likes of, you know, Hinshelwood, the young right back, and Lamptey are flying forward to essentially overload their midfield, which, I think it's going to be a very, very, very open game. I'd be surprised if this game was a 0-0. I'd be very, very surprised. But the best midfield for me we can play in this game is Sarr in the 6, Bentancur in the 8, and Maddison in the 10. And then you bring on the likes of Bissouma, you bring on the likes of Højbjerg. In terms of the front three, even Giovanni Lo Celso could feature in that midfield, sorry. In terms of the front three, you know, we're going to have the likes of Brennan Johnson on the right or Kulusevski. That is the headache that is on everyone's mind right now. Who do you start on the right-hand side? It's very, very, very mixed in terms of which one of those players is going to be on the better form, plays. I think the fan base at the moment is, like I've been saying, is cut completely down the middle. The striker will 100% be Richarlison, and I do think Son will play some minutes. If it's not Son, it will be Timo Werner, and Son will be on the bench. That, for me, will be the front three and the midfield. And then if Son's on the bench, you could potentially bring him on, as well as Bissouma. They're not exactly bad subs to bring on, but I'd be amazed if Bissouma comes back in and starts. The only way I think he starts is purely a fitness or injury problem. And then we've got Wolves on the 17th, which is the Saturday after. Then we don't have a game for nearly 2 weeks. The next game would be Crystal Palace, another home game, because the Chelsea game has been postponed. However, March is going to be very feisty. We've got Fulham away, we've got Villa away, Palace and Luton at home. But April is where it's going to be at. Arsenal, City, Newcastle, West Ham, and Nottingham Forest. But look, let me know your thoughts down below if you guys haven't already. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Make sure you have liked the video. I will see you all soon. Thank you all for tuning in, guys.